Okay, welcome back for part 9 of Blueprints. Welcome back to part 9 of Blueprints, our 100% completion and lore run. Um, God, I hope that's not a sign of what's to come for this night. Got a massive crick in the back of my neck, and now I can't talk straight. And was out of focus for 5 minutes. Okay, our primary goal today is ascending the blue throne. That is what we're working on. Anything else is secondary. That's what we're doing. I don't remember the status of where we left off with everything here. I know we have the watering can in the coat check with still water in it. So we're set up for that. And we have the secret passage is monked, but that doesn't do us a whole lot of good. I can set out the secret passage at the very, very least. But I also need the shrine to proceed with the thing. So I'm going to see if I can get everything I need except the shrine. I'm not going to draft the outer room yet. And then based on what I can do, if I can get everything set up except and ready except the shrine, then I'll go draft the shrine. If I can't get everything I need, then I'll go out and I'll do the secret passageway. And that'll be our main determining point here. So we need to make it all the way up into the antechamber. We need a sledgehammer. And that's basically it. So for now, I'm going to leave this alone, depending on what I'm going to need. Although I've got Banner of the King as well. So let's see. Could do. I'm going to come back to that in a minute and do like a yellow or something, maybe. I don't know. But at the very least, let's see what kind of day we can get going here to start us off. Okay, there's our coat check, so we've got it. We don't have to worry about it just in case we need it for secret passage. Let's do that before the courtyard. Increase our chances of getting something from the courtyard. I do want the commissary. How about a sledgehammer, please? No. I'll take the shovel, that way the game won't try and give it to me. Some gems. Alright, we're good on gems for a while. A bit heading things off over here. Don't want to kill things with the terrace just yet here. Okay. Again, I don't want to kill this entire path just yet, game. Nothing over here. Okay. Really? Holy crap. Okay. Alright, I gotta remember I don't have the security cards, which means I'm gonna need utility closet, and I have office at least. Obviously, I'd rather do security in case I need it. Let's see what the break room can give us. Because if it gives us the card, then problem solved. There's our throne room. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I can also just come right up the foundation into the throne room. Okay, so we have that at least. Let's worry about advancing north. I need a lever. I'll take that. And now there's also food, which might help when I need it for moving about. Okay, good. We have sledge. That was important. Okay, so as long as I can get into the antechamber, then we're good. Let's see about... And I don't hate that as is. It's fine. Keys. Locksmith actually might have been better. I clicked so fast on this thing. But we're going to use that prism key now. Not in here, obviously. Oh, I have both sides of the antechamber already. I didn't need the Great Hall. Crap. Oh, yeah, this is not this is not my smartest time here. Good lord. All right, well, but we can do this at least. I'm not at all worried. Okay, so now I just need to draft something that turns west. Worst case scenario, I have... Hey, that is exactly what I was hoping for. This will take care of my steps in the meantime. Okay. Let's get my brain into this. Alright. East. That's really all I need. Alright, let's go get our crown. Okay. Sure. Okay, so I have an apple right on this side of the wall. I mean, I'm trying to mark out where my fruit is so that I can find it again when I need it. Suppose you want to give me a dining hall, do you? That'd be awesome. I mean, pantry is a couple of extra steps, one way or the other. I think I'm gonna pop in here, grab the dice and the gem, because why not? And see if I can grab a dining hall nearby. Problem is, since I remoted into the laboratory... No, I didn't remote. I remoted into security, which means I can't remote over to the shelter and unlock everything automatically. Okay, well, I have no keys and no way to unlock anything else at this point. So, let's see what kind of fruit we have to deal with here. Probably not a whole lot. Should have left the apple where it was. Alright, so I got an extra apple here. No banana in the commissary? That's unfortunate. There's not a whole lot of fruit here. Apple there. I see an apple there. But that would be an in and out use of the apple without the farmer's apple. That would do me no good whatsoever. I need, like, oranges and bananas. Okay, there's a banana. Okay, so not a whole... So, if I come in here, I'm going to have to gauge my steps. So 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 10, 8, 7, 8, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, yeah, so I have to come in through the foundation. No, wait. 13, 11, 12, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11, 10, 11, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 will get us into the throne room. 3, 4, 5 to the aquarium. Did I try going through the aquarium door? 4, 3, 2 will get us to the kitchen and buy the rest of the food that we need. And that may keep us going. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so now we need blue. And Banner of the King. Blue. That should take care of us. And with 2 dice. Sorry, Secret Passage, you will have to wait for another day. Alright. There's a shrine. You sure you want to do this? Yes, I'm sure I want to do this. We haven't really talked about this, but the fact like you can, if the symbols on the box match a lot of the symbols that are on the classroom map with the ore sphere specifically has these symbols on the bottom of the map. So it's sort of the, Jesper says, well, I'm sure this looks like it came from the old world. Well, he's probably right. The symbols do seem to match what's there. Yep. All right. Okay, so now we're at 12. 11 puts me outside. I think I will end up with more steps if I go maybe 10, 9, 8 will put me into the foundation, possibly to 7. I think I'll come out like 1 or 2 steps ahead that way. Because I never remember sometimes if it takes a step coming down here. I don't think it does. No, but it does take a step going in here. And then a step going in here. So, which ultimately doesn't do us a whole heck of a lot of good. Okay. Since I turned it off, this works. It's mainly is that if the door out of the aquarium up there is unlocked, then we can maybe go somewhere. If it's not, then we don't have any keys and we're done anyway. But we will accomplish this. Alright, and I am just going to shut up for this part because I love the music, I love the cutscene, I love everything about it. So, here we go.
Steady is the scepter. Deadly is the stone. Heavy is the crown. ready is the throne.
The Throne of the Blueprints. The next time you draft 8 blueprints in a row, permanently unlocked all the blue sealed doors. This floor plan has permanently ascended. Permanent changes do not reset each day. The Throne of the Blueprints, the former seat of power of House Aries, enthroned anew in the 6th era of Nevmora and exalted beneath the blue banners of House Hawley. Where the sigil of Arinda Aries was once affixed, the crest of her ladyship, the Grand Architect Baroness Auravei, now presides over the court. So there's stuff to talk about here, as you might imagine. First of all, the full details of my thoughts, or as close as we can come, about the Ascension ceremony and all the pieces to it are in the Curse of Blackbridge deep dive lore video that I did, and I'll put the little link up in the corner, the tag. But long story short of it, the crown we have, and that was stolen, where it's been sitting in the museum for presumably since the fall of House Desolé and the overthrow of Arinda Aries. The scepter, as far as we can tell, has been buried in that chest underground in Arinda Castle, here on the Mount Hawley site. And so the fact that it was in the castle, buried in a chest marked with a key for House Aries, means that I don't think that the scepter was used by House Desolé. I think there was a hostile takeover of some sort between the two houses, and they used a fake scepter. And the effigy, and which means they also didn't pass the real scepter on to Teskin. Teskin was notably crowned, using a shaped crown that matches the paper crown and matches the statue of him in the Fenn Aries Museum. And the effigy has, since the time of the Blackguard, so before Fenn Aries existed, was lost and stolen and buried in a cave and may have been retrieved at some point, but it was not, notably, sitting in the royal treasury. And if it was, how did we get it? Because someone would have raised a stink about a national treasure used for the coronation of a new monarch being stolen. I mean, we have evidence of that with the crown. They were kind of pissed about that. So the effigy was not stolen from the Fenn government. At least not as, someone would have noticed it. Someone would have raised a stink over it. Instead, I think that it was lost during the reign of Desolé III. It was the use of it and the import was lost with the transfer from House Aries to House Desolé, and a fake one was used by House Desolé along with the fake scepter, and then the fake scepter and effigy were used by Teskin. And the real effigy was lost and recovered by our grandfather Simon H. Sinclair. And I mean, right here we have the former seat of power of House Aries. We're just going to skip right over the Desolés, because the throne of the black throne of Arinda Aries, the throne room, that's saying the seat of power of House Aries. Yes, it may also have been of House Desolé, but we don't like them. I think they took power from House Aries. I think Prince Learson was a member of House Aries, like a cousin or someone who didn't make it to the throne. His ancestors lost the throne, and he was trying to reclaim it by staking his claim when Desolé III died. And so Yeah, I just because I mean it used to have the Arinda Aries sigil above it, and the core. Yeah, it's weird to me that I mean it's literally just skips House Desolate, which tells me that House Aries is the one that ties to more the proper owners of the throne in their time, and the House Desolate usurped it and were not the proper owners. That they never completed the ceremony properly with the effigy and the scepter, etc., etc. So I mean, there's a lot more details than Blackbridge lore, but everything kind of points to House Aries being the last legitimate enthroned bloodline for Arinda Aries. And now we have Auravei's Mount Holly symbol up there. And not a whole lot changed. All the shields shifted from red to blue, obviously. The banners are all blue instead of that orangish red. Everything went blue. The old throne room was a mixture of black and red. This one's like, nope, we're skipping that crap. We're just going straight blue. The video that we get, obviously we see the finding of the scepter, which I talked about. That I mean, it was buried here until it was uncovered, and it was in a House Aries chest. So, like I say, I think it skipped the Desolays. Then we see Jesper and the stone, which there's actually just today that we were talking in the Sanctum chat about how deadly is the stone versus stealing your steps and making you fall over tired. Like what is exact meaning versus a game mechanic versus how literally is deadly is the stone, etc. And then the crown. I mean, we've on and off throughout this series we've discussed all the different pieces of it, so I don't really feel the need to go too deep into it. Notably here, the Mount Holly variation of my grandmother's own design. When you press a blue tile, it copies the ability of the middle tile. So this is obviously our mother's handwriting. So the design of this was by Auravei. So she designed her own Morjai tile and this sigil for use even. Or not sigil, this core symbol to use for this new thing. So presumably she designed this whole box, as we'll see obviously when we get to the rough draft as well. So give me just a second to solve this. Gotta remember, if you're gonna go there, you're gonna go there. You'll go down. Let's send you down there. You up one. That is absolutely the wrong call, probably. But if I get you in the middle, then I can drop you down one, shift you over, you go down. There we go. Okay, hang on a second here. Okay. Alright, so now we're just going to pop up and see if this is worth pursuing. Hello, Apple. Hey, Apple. Thank you. You are locked. Okay, so we don't have any keys left. There's not really anything we can do at this point. So, sadly. Yeah, because now we're left to draft. Okay, but we did. Our number one priority for the day is complete. All right, next priority, obviously getting our Power of the Monk back and monking the secret passage. So we got to burn a day while cursed here, which isn't as bad as it used to be. because now we have king power and scepter powers to help us be blue. And I don't know if they fixed the bug. I know at one point the throne room was still considered a black print, even after having been ascended, and that was a bug. I think they said they fixed it, though. So let's pick this up and go blue. Steady works for me. Ooh. It's very nice. Okay, now what we need is the throne room again. Okay, now we're going west. Hey, there we go. Okay. Workshop works. You know, I don't hate the library there. Except it turns and dead ends, and I would really like a few more options here. I do want the library to see where we are on books, though. We've only got a couple left to read, but I don't remember if we'd requested one or not, though. Sorry, Conservatory. And I don't want to put the morning room in my draft pool just now. Kennel works. Hey, Bobby. Okay, now that I have some keys, I'm okay with the library. Okay, and our next book that we need to request will be A New Clue. Oh, you need pets. You need pets too. Let's go, puppy. Alright, so we need 3 more blue rooms. I should not run into the morning room anytime soon, so just get some steps there. Nothing I can make that... actually, I mean... Nothing I can make that would really be useful to me today. There we go. London's room. Ooh. Okay. Gotta remember, gotta avoid rooms with security doors here. All of which these might have. Mechanarium, I will have at least one door out of it. Office should be safe, though. And gives me a computer to work with if I need it. All I need is one more blue room, to be honest. Okay. Seal unlocked. Yes, I know I drafted the Aquarium. I don't care. Okay, so our blue door has been taken care of. We can go down and do the draft manuscript, take care of that. There's nothing else I can do today that would, well, not that won't absolutely destroy me. If I get, like, the vault, then maybe I can go switch to yellow and buy Swimbird out. I did that one. Alzara, we can see if we can find Alzara really fast. Let's keep going and see if we can, because we still have 2 Alzaras and they take forever to find sometimes. Love it. Oh, what is this? Who did something? Sharia Thomas, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. How are you doing today? Welcome in. Let's see what we get. Hey, security card. Now we're talking. I guess we're going pantry here. Alright, so we just finished upgrading our throne room, if you're a fan of blueprints and know what's going on. There's really not a whole lot I can do here. This is going to cost, well, do that for tomorrow. And we're going to end in the break room in a minute. First, however, we are going to go and reap the rewards of our work in the throne room today. Oh. Does us no good whatsoever, so let's give ourselves extra steps for tomorrow. I still need to find that last vault key. That's gonna bother me for a while, because that's the hardest one to get. And so far, the things that I've been doing have not been working, and also the last upgrade disc, the ways that I know to get it are not panning out, thanks to RNG. All right, here we go. All right, so the 3 boxes, if you have not seen them or need a refresher, there are 2 true boxes in this room. So if this is false, then one of the other ones has to be false, and the other one's true. If this is true, one of the other ones has to be false, and the other one has to be true. So the truth or falseness of this white box makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. There is no end to this journey, or you have reached the end of your journey. So opposite options. We will come back and play this one tomorrow, but for now we're going to go ahead and read the book, which is the option of you have reached, if you choose to reach the end of your journey, and this I believe is the box that's technically a lie. The Blueprints by Mary Matthew Jones. To my son Simon, in whose eyes I see the world anew, there was a red prince who sat on a there was a blue prince who sat on a blue throne. He had a blue crown made of sapphires, and a blue castle made of stone. The prince had a love for all things blue. It's the only true color in my humble view. He couldn't stand the tint of a hallway or a shop. He couldn't stand the shade of trees the green rooms brought. He seldom talked to others, for they rarely shared this view. He never went to town, nor saw the flags they flew. And do you know which game the prince instead would play? The one that made him happy whenever skies were grey. A game he had played in this house and on the ground, and maybe you can guess from the clues we have found. It was a game full of rooms and the stories that we climb, about a house full of lies and the truth that one prince finds. And as you, my reader, might already assume, this game is quite near you, in fact in the same room. A game about you and the plans that you made, about a blue prince and his blueprints, the blue game we just played. The end. So, not a whole lot really to discuss in this one. Obviously, this is our mother's handwriting, in case there was any doubt. The throne room is not only converted, but it's blue, but you are lacking the accoutrements of that were in the Red Prince rough draft. So you're not carrying the effigy and the scepter anymore. You're just the ruler sitting on the throne. So this is no longer a clue on how to do it or what's important about those things. This is just you're already there, because obviously you have to have ascended the throne before you could do this. It is slightly like the statues of armor I find strange, just because they don't necessarily serve a purpose, so which makes me wonder why they're there. The overall message of this seems to be, because Simon, the Red Prince rather, in the other book was locked into his worldview, and in the original version, it was the only color, it's the only one he accepted, and it's because, the Red Prince just loved red, and that was the end of that. Then in the original version, it's, he was locked into that red, and I couldn't show him the broader world. I couldn't open his eyes and show him the things that I wanted to show him about the world. He was so absorbed in his book and the color red, i.e. Fenn, Aries and their propaganda. But then one day he saw something new and is like, but the whole point is hopefully my son will open his eyes and he'll see something new and have a new favorite color. Now we're saying, don't let your favorite color become the obsession to the exclusion of all else, like the Red Prince was. It's the only color in my humble view. And say, well, he can't stand shops or other things or anything that they bring, and so it would isolate him because he doesn't go to town. You can see the red flags, and obviously we know that's Reddington based on the coloring, the location, because you can see this is a view from the overlook area where you get the throne room in the first place with those two pillars there, and you're looking out towards Reddington. And so saying, he don't be isolated. Don't lock yourself up in just one color is how I read it, at least. I'm sure there are other interpretations that are equally valid. And then he gets a little bit meta about, oh, you're the one playing the game, Blueprints. Haha. The one key here is that the paper that he's writing on, if I had the magnifying glass, you could see it, but it is a reminder that the true box doesn't necessarily hold the prize. I forget if that's the actual word on there, but it's basically, so this is the prize because it's the book, it's what we wanted to see, but the true box doesn't necessarily hold the prize. The true box in this case is that the story doesn't end, and that's the other box. So this is also the false box, but it has the prize inside of it, is how I read that. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll take care of that one. For now, like I said, I like to trade them in the trading post, so, well, except now for tomorrow I want them all in one place, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so we should be good. Nowhere else we can draft. We did accomplish what we wanted to do today. So there we go. Alright, so now we're going to head down, open up that other box so we get the cutscene and see what happens. And then we are going to go look for the shrine. We might need some dice, obviously. Power of the King should help, but it might still betray us. But as fast as we got that thrown at the blueprints, it does look like they fixed the bug at least. So that's something. Alright, and we got plenty of steps. Let's just see if we can get some dice or study first here. Alright, there's my study. That's fine. That should be enough to make sure that we get our shrine. %73% and counting. Now, Some people have soft locked themselves by grabbing one of those and running through these doors before they close, and then they get stuck in here and have to stop their day. You can do it if you want to. I think it's a silly choice, but who am I to tell you what to do? All right, here we go. I do love the look of buyer's remorse right here. Like the, wait, really? This is what I get? Really should have opened that blue box. But wait, there is something here. Let me take a closer look. And of course, now we have the spiral of stars. The does it never end? There is no end to this journey. Spiral in the wood grain, which I thought was really cool. All right, that's done. Now we can take these back so that they spawn where I want them to. All right. Okay, now we go get our shrine, get our monk power back. All right. I can do Banner of the King blue. That should help us out here. There's our shrine. Oh, not that. Don't open that. Wrong button. I think it's 29 coins that I want to do. I am clicking everything wrong here. Race helpers. There we go. 4 days of the monk is 29, yes. Okay. That should be more than enough to get us what we need to do. Welcome back, monk. We missed you. Sorry about that whole cursed thing in there disrupting our last blessing. Alright, now we need a scepter. Orange. To get us our secret passageway. Excellent. All right. All right. Well, library it is. A New Clue by Marion Marigold. All he needed was to find a new clue. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. If he knew what to do, he'd likely tell you, for you are looking for a new clue too. He'd retraced his sketches and studied the files, reviewed all his cases and gone through the piles of the evidence present and precedents evident, and retraced his steps as it stretched on for miles. He had looked high and low in all the rooms, he had searched every corner in each of the tombs. In this particular case he had checked every space. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. He looked under beds and in nooks. He questioned the maids, he questioned the cooks. It was already over when he spoke to the chauffeur, who told him new clues were found only in books. So tome after tome that the library loaned, and the books that he already owned, were searched from their covers all the way through. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. He changed all the letters and the lines that he found. He checked all the colours of the spines that were bound. He doubled the meaning of each seasonal greeting, and found that the diction of each word was sound. He stayed up all night and studied the maps. He laid out the floor plans and measured the gaps. And if his directory was considered a trajectory, it was nothing short of a full mental lapse. A mad, obsessed, and cuckoo too, they would say as he would wander through. The best medicine is not yet evidence. If he found a new clue, he'd know what to do. And having read this book so many times, having scoured over each of its cryptic lines, have you exhausted your search? Have you seen all the signs? Or is there perhaps something new, something overlooked but now in view? Have you finally found it? Could it really be true? If it's a new clue, you know what to do. I find that highly inspired by Dr. Seuss. We already went through the rough draft of this, so there's not a whole lot really to talk about. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here you can just barely, without the use of a magnifying glass, see the existence of the numbers that are there on page 6. I would not have noticed this, I think, on my, I didn't notice this on my first run through. I was playing downstairs. Oh no, yeah, by the new clue, I think I may have been downstairs. I don't remember, but I definitely was not paying very close attention when I first played this. I think it was my second time that I finally noticed those little things and whatever there with the magnifying glass. But the things to note are, oddly enough, the statue of Orinda that's there, the things in her hands are reversed. Orinda normally carries the scepter in her right hand, the shield in her left. So I'm not entirely sure about that. In this game, you have to assume everything's important. I just don't know what to make of that, to be honest. Compared to the draft version, there was the king here, but there was the note to swap the king and the rook, which they did literally in between versions of the book, but then also that is a clue towards the castle, of course. Then there was something there about change this reference to the number 10 for tenor fork, so 10 tenor, and so the fruit there adds up to 10 steps. The cuckoo clucks, I think, stay pretty much the same from one to the other. There's a couple things that were taken off of this board, and I don't remember what else there was really about this. Obviously this stays the same. All these pretty more or less stay the same. There's our king. The full metro map is now listed. The magnifying glass, not microscope, here obviously gives you a lot of information that you can't see otherwise. That gets you to the train stops and what you're supposed to do with all these clues. And so this is probably one of the most important pages in the whole book. The pictures that we have, again, I don't know if they're significant. I'm sure there are theories that we have the picture in the back that I know that's the one that's in the, I believe that's the one that's in the safe house. It's also the one that's in the entrance hall. Then, not the safe house, the shelter. Then the in eclipse ball dancing photo, and then the photo that is in the safe house of Mary, Caleb, and Philip. No one outside of this house and without access to the safe house probably would know the significance of that photo, because you can't see who it's supposed to be. But not once you've seen the actual photo, obviously, it leaps out at you on the page. It says, "Hey, this is that photo." This one is important for one of the things for solving the admin key, obviously, and I know some people are still working on the rough draft version of this as well, on whether a blank 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 key could stand for something else, and they're working on other clues still buried within this book. So since we've already went through the rough draft, there's not really a whole lot more to add to that one, unfortunately. Dining room is not too far off here. That's fine. It won't be hard to backtrack to this to get their food. There we go. Okay. Now that we have that, we can swap to blue and see if we can get an Alzara here. And we have a veranda and a spare veranda, so let's go green. Go triple veranda. That's a brick. It's fine. Sure. We haven't opened the planetarium since we got the last upgrade. But this is the fully upgraded planetarium. If I needed it, this would be a source for Prism Key. But we're good there. Alright. Nothing extra special in here. Okay, now we're spreading dirt. In here. About some rooms that might have security doors in them. Actually, shoot, that drawing room would have been great. Pump room should. Has a good probability for it, at least. Yes, it does. Haha. Rumpus, yes! Alzara! Welcome back, buddy. It's been a while. I'm a prince now. Did you know that, Alzara? I do not care.
As it was foretold, I am awakened at the sound of a dropping coin. You find yourself face to face with the great Alzara. And I suspect you wish me to look into your future.
Tuscan statue.
In the mist,
Note the crown.
I see a figure. A statue cradled in a courtyard of sentinel stone. You will find yourself one day wandering these paths, walking in the footsteps of the past, wandering and waiting, searching for a shadow that will never be cast,
Which I think is you're not getting your mom back.
longing for the day to end, the hours to pass. What you have heard here has been
So wandering through the, not literally through
Alzara,
the museum grounds and all and everything there, but wandering through the story of them and the tale of your mom's heist,
more to
and
say.
following the footsteps of the past, and and seeing what she did and learning about it, and then looking for the shadow that won't be cast, waiting for her to see if she's alive and will come back, and I don't think she is. Pinging from the den? What's going on? Well, all right. Excellent. All right, that's another thing we can accomplish today. All right, unfortunately, that's going to be it for our experiment. Is there anything else we need to worry about as far as rooms to draft that I can look for? Oh, okay. Closed exhibit. Gotta go back to the closed exhibit. We talked about a new clue. I think that's it. Okay. So there's nothing specific to worry about here. Okay, I have a battery and a sledge. So if I can get a lever.
Yes, we can. Okay. All right. Okay, tomorrow rooms. We will not need that for tomorrow. We don't need freezer for tomorrow. At this point, I'm just curious. That might help for tomorrow. Let's do that. Okay.
I keep forgetting to do this. So we've been in and out of this room several times, and I keep forgetting to read the letter and talk about it. So I apologize for having skipped this. I can't really go back and insert it into the day that I should have when we talked about the closed exhibit, though. Dearest children, the pieces are all in place and the rigid cogs have been greased. However, if our ambitious plans are to succeed, we must strike this Tuesday. The routine changing of guard personnel on the first of each month means the opportunity we have created for ourselves would likely never be so opportune. If we wait even one additional week, the window will be closed. On Tuesday, there will be 3 royal guards stationed at Learson Hall, 2 of which will be wearing black gloves in lieu of the traditional white. We would be wise to sacrifice almost everything to avoid the white-gloved guard striking only when he takes a recess. The 2 black-gloved guards have been instructed to bind, blind, and gag themselves to spare us the precious extra minutes it would take your group to execute that task on their behalf. However, that also means that once we reach the exhibit, we will truly be on our own. May the black shores guide us, may the black skies shield us, may our fathers be proud of us. In arms, your faithful soldier, Faro. So this was sent in the final days of August of 1987. The Tuesday in question is September the 1st. September the 2nd with wait, September 1st is that? Okay, now I'm questioning myself. I'm gonna get this straight so it's screwed up. Okay, September 2nd at 1:30 in the morning is the Tuesday. So they get moving and they're on the way out the door and they're moving and they're getting set up on the night of the 1st. The 2nd, however, is the Tuesday at 1:30 a.m. when they actually steal the crown. I know I've seen suggestions that Faro is actually a pseudonym for Kirk Darren, thus explaining why the Kirk Darren is a pseudonym memo exists in the first place, is because that's a dumb memo. It serves no purpose unless it's to tell you that actually, flip that, Kirk Darren's real. He has a pseudonym though, and with his work as a security person, that he may have. I saw someone even suggest that he may have gotten a job at the museum to help facilitate things and make friends with the guards or whatever. And I don't know that I would go that far with it, but we know Kirk seems to be aware of what's going on with Mary, but there's no indication that he's an active member of the Children of Blackwater. Yeah, it's a little strange, and why he would need to put a pseudonym here in a letter that's not supposed to ever see the light of day, communicating with them. They do use pseudonyms though, I guess, in the grotto. We have Gene Ribbon and Paul Withers. We don't know if Caleb got a pseudonym. He may not have been cool enough to get one. So this could be. Faro could be a pseudonym, and it could very well be a link to Kirk Darren not being a pseudonym, but having a pseudonym. So in that light, that actually lends a little bit of credence to that theory, to be honest. But we don't know for sure. But it is an intriguing theory, at least. So at the beginning of the month, obviously, so it's the beginning of September, so the timeline works perfectly, putting this on September 2nd at 1:30 in the morning. We discussed the timeline of the heist itself when we were down in the safe house already. But this also, he specifically says, to spare us the extra minutes it would take your group to execute that on their behalf. So this really is stating, and my theory all along has been that Faro was the getaway driver and was meeting them at the car, whether he had a car there and was dropping them off and then just drove it over there, or whether there was a separate car already arranged for in addition to the decoy car in the south where Caleb was. But that's why Faro is not part of the main group and is not listed on the map anywhere else, is because he's not with the group that goes in for the crown. He's the getaway driver. Seems to make perfect sense to me, at least. And everything else here I think we've pretty much covered with when we discussed the heist. So, but it does show that Faro is not in the safe house with them planning. He's outside arranging for things out here and making arrangements for the guards to bind themselves, to get two people there willing to take a bribe, or who are secretly sympathetic, whichever the case may be. Yeah, so I mean, he's external. So Faro was not down in the safe house on a daily basis with them. He may have dropped in to visit, or she. Let's not prejudge. But Faro may have dropped in to visit at some point and been part of some planning sessions. But for the most part, it seems like Faro was probably outside the safe house for some or most of the time they were down there, making arrangements outside, which they couldn't necessarily have done while they were locked up down below. So, okay, now we need to make it back to the workshop. Well, technically, the workshop having the jackhammer does not improve your odds of getting a special key. I looked. So I'm not going to bother with it. If this was earlier in the day, I might. But I don't want to backtrack all the way down to the workshop, craft the jackhammer, then come all the way back up here for something that actually will not make a significant difference. So we're just looking for that last vault key, because it can show up in dirt piles. So digging trash and spreading dirt would be a really great combination, to be honest. But that was not one of my options. I should still have some out on the driveway as well, I think. The regular key, not what I was asking for. Just saying. Okay, we go. Now we gotta backtrack out to the front. Swimburb. Done. Alright, and we're far enough along now that with just a little bit of jiggery-pokery to make sure we get enough money, break Hamwise open and buy blue tents one of these days soon. Okay. Anything else we need to do before we go back to the secret passage? Not that I can think of. Doesn't mean there isn't anything, I just can't think of it right now. This really didn't save us a whole lot because we've still got to backtrack all the way back up there. Up and over. Up again. Here we go. There's so many items. Here we go. All right, not really a point in picking anything up. Here we go. Don't worry about if we pick anything up, depending on how long we spend here and what we do. Oh crap, I need need the watery can. Duh. Alright, so we have our still water. I still need to put this in the coat check because I again realized that I still have not actually tinted the books in the library. Crap. I was going to do it today, and then just the way that this ended up drafting, I don't have the option of getting a library at this point because I just wanted to get this and go. So we will do that today. I will remember. I'll put this back in the coat check. So the Atelier. Atelier is just a fancy French word for, and it's only fancy because it's French, for a workshop. And this is where a drafting studio takes place. So this is where Auravei did all of her work, creating the blueprints for Mount Holly and designing the house. So you can see her notes to herself. Not that one. Come on, where are they? Come on. There we go. So here's like, okay, the ranks and files should be odd. So 7-5, 9-5, 7x7. What are we going to do here? So this is where you can see she's settling on the size of the manor it's going to be. I have not counted how many dead ends there are in her original floor plans, so maybe that's how many was she planning on having originally. I honestly have not counted. The staked claim, 2.2 acre plot east of the creek. Obviously that's the place where it is on the lands that she bought from Lord what's his face. And you can see the very, very sketched out versions of what's going to be in this room, what's going to be the shape of the room. What you don't see here, unfortunately, is the bookshop. I would love to see what her plan for was on that one. But the most interesting one in here to me, honestly, let's see. This is the "Don't Go Where the Path Leads" that goes back to Herbert's original letter to us on day one, waiting for there. The prism that is referred to in the tinted pages of the blank books, which we'll refer to when we actually open those books and read them. But this is the prism, so the original, so green, violet, yellow, red, blue, orange. This is the prism pristine, meaning the beginning of the first rank, untouched, start from the beginning, start at the pristine, untouched, haven't gone through any lanterns yet prism when you're creating your paths here. This is the most interesting room to me, that's of these little blueprints on the walls here, is the foyer, because you see the space marked out for the 6 busts that will one day be there. And she has the 3 primary colors, 3 primary paths. And, of course, 2 of the paths that we go down, if you're following it to the other ending, are not primary colors, or secondary colors. Orange and purple are secondary, not primary. Oh well. When I first embarked upon this project, it was my intent to craft inviting rooms that might appeal to the citizens of the realm. I had even secured an arrangement with a local firm which was to oversee the mass production of the floor plans. And yet now, after walking the halls of my work, I must confess that I have grown altogether too attached to these rooms. They have become a part of me, and knowing how little regard is often shown for that which I hold sacred, I find myself unequal to the selfless task of sharing them with the world. I am content with this resolution, for this house and the 45 rooms therein are more than the best work of my career. They are home. Lady Auravei, project completed November of 1913. So, notice this is the purchase of the house was 1912, so she spent a little over a year-ish, however long. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me look. May 13th, 1912. So she spent about a year and a half from the time she bought it before she completed the project here. So how long did it take her to get set up and have an atelier set up in the outer room? Was that literally what the outer room was at first? Was just, this is the atelier. And it's only after she hid it away behind the secret passage that this becomes a thing, but it was originally just, this is where the atelier is. That would make sense, because nothing else existed yet. So this may have been originally a draftable room, in fact. So, but, so this is November 13th is when the project is completed. Doesn't necessarily speak to when the house is there, or if this is just her finishing all of her plans. It's not entirely clear, to be honest. So this could just be her planning project, or it could literally be, okay, not only were the plans done, but while I was doing this, the ground on which the house would stand was being prepared. The trees leveled and all the construction work done to get everything ready to house the manor itself. And that can take a while, especially on something as big as this. But because one thing I've realized that the rooms, there's always a room in there. There are 45 rooms in the house. You are just putting a floor plan down in that room. But the room itself is always there, even if you don't have a floor plan that goes into it. If you draft around it, there's not a void of nothingness there, despite what it looks like if you go a free roam mod. But there is a room It's just you don't have a floor plan on it to access it and see what's going on in that room. Because if you look at the study, Herbert's note about, getting all new pictures, one for every room, it's not referring to the floor plans. It's referring to the 44 rooms, the physical space in the house that house the pictures that don't change. So those pictures stay in that room, and then depending on the floor plan you drop down on top of them and print in that room, that set of pictures manifests itself on the wall as two little things on the chest, or up on, wherever the pictures are, if they're there at all. Courtyard doesn't have them. So I've heard people say, and I was one of them for a while, but that not every room has picture pairs. No, every room has picture pairs. Not every floor plan has a place for picture pairs. But the room does. So there's a difference between the room itself in the manor and the floor plan that you are drafting in the space of the room. So, we got enough steps, so not really anything else to do today. Let's walk a couple of the bad paths. I'm going to need to grab my notes because I don't remember them. I guess we can try. But I will put, for YouTube at least, I will put my map up on the screen of my notes for being here. But go and do the test draft. If you follow the Cracking the Cryptid guys that I've mentioned a couple of times here, they just today, the episode 50 of their stream that they released today, they got into the rough draft here and were starting to work their way around. Because they got in, bumped around a little bit, and then restarted. Or I think maybe they got in at the end of last time, excuse me. And then this time they were starting their day going, okay, now is the secret passage out there? Do we have? Oh, yes, we do have it. Okay, good. So today was their first day of exploring the Atelier. I think it's sort of blurring together a little bit now, but I think they might have gotten in there at the very end of last time, if I remember right. But today they actually went in and explored and promptly got lost. There were lots of uses of rotten game as they learned the ins and outs of some of the rooms and all the Morjai puzzles and such, the buttons that they forgot. What does this color do? What does that color do? So let's pick a color here. Let's go purple. I'm not going to solve all the Morjai puzzles because I'm not insane. But the whole puzzle works out, of course. If you solve them all, you get these vying plans. Forge Barren Crest among Hiwam blessed. Hiwam, of course, the Arajan word for big house. So this is a blessed or holy big house. The manor. There are interpretations of this. I don't know that anyone has settled and said this is the definitive interpretation that makes sense. I don't even really have any particularly strong thoughts, except these vying plans. So these plans here in the blue, as opposed to vying as in opposition. So as opposed to the plans over in the main house over there, these alternate plans forge Barren Crest. Doesn't have anything to do with the inheritance of the title of Baron. Because as we'll see in Auravei's Blue Testament, the ownership of the house and everything to do with over here has nothing to do with the title of Baron. Because Herbert got that, Simon was intended to be able to theoretically maybe one day possibly not really solve this. But this has nothing to do with the title. So I'm not sure, honestly, why that would necessarily be part of her secret plan here. Forge Barren Crest. I don't know. That's part of the interpretation that just doesn't necessarily mesh for me, is that Auravei had nothing to do with the baronial title. It wasn't hers. She was not. It was Tomas, and presumably inherited from his father before him, down to Herbert. and then now jumping the generation down to us. Has nothing to do with this place. So I don't know what she's forging here. But then the individual letters from that was the individual letters from the picture pairs. The Morjai puzzle boxes that you solve yield, through lantern light in sketches cast, a tint of truth to find our path, a hue of wisdom to turn us right, a shade of rain to pass the light. Through lantern light in shadows past, we seek what's left of the lies we cast. And based on the information really that's in the library tinted books, which again, I'm sorry that we didn't view those already, you can come to the conclusion, you can track down which paths you might be able to find that you can stay without crossing colors, going in and out of rooms to get from this prism pristine here, where you've crossed any other colors, the only hallway that has no lanterns in it, from here to the vestibule, which again, the vestibule was the original antechamber, and it's in the spot of the antechamber in this house. So, which I thought was a really great clue and tie-in of just the lore of the room itself. So let's cross. So here we have the maid's chamber, clog and cog, by the way. And now we need to go only purple lights. We're going here through again to the drawing room. We're gonna go this way. We're gonna turn left. And the solarium to the right is a dead end. So we go here. And around. And all the way up. And then we turn left. And then we take our right through the hallway. And then we go this way to the passage. South of the passage. We turn left. What's this light? Turn left to this light. And to the right. Cut through the den. We go this way. Now we turn up and through here and up. This puts us north of the pump room. Then we go out and around. And from here, now we step into this and boom, we got a purple moon. This was not the true path. Thanks, Great Grandma Auravei. And now, if we cross a lantern, lost our color. So if you and it's locked. So hence the you cannot cross lantern colors, or it breaks the whole thing. So next, let's do orange, because that's where we're gonna end here. So now we have started here. We're back to orange. Through the cloister. All the way down. Turn right. Go this way through the dining room. Then up to the foundation. Okay, and then all the way over. All the way up. And up. And then turn left before we get to the red light. Through the archives. Here, and in we go. We got an orange moon! But alas, this also was not the true path. And so the final path of the 3 paths convene that the original tinted pages tells us about is the red option. So let's go this way and up to the next light. No, this light across. And we take red all the way up to in front of the purples. Let me turn left. We go red. And turn right. Take this red up. And then turn left. Until we get to all the way down, really. Out of the gym. Out. And in. Now we're going to cut through the archives the other direction. Down this way. Through the pool. Aha! The red moon rises. Poor Link. Still not the true path. So what's the true path? I did the Atelier in one sitting. I force reset my game several times while I was mapping this whole thing out, so I wasn't worried about steps or running out of monk power. I would explore as far as I could, do what I needed to do, and then reset the game. And then, I did the whole thing in one long sitting, and it was I was so freaking tired by the end of this. I actually figured out the right answer from the clues and did that before doing any of the false paths. I figured out the right one, and then it was like I had to call it a night. It was so late at night or / early in the morning by that point, and I was so freaking tired. I didn't have it in me to try the other color paths. And then the very next night or day, my friend Dread Red J was solving this, and so he came in here for the first time and was solving it and did the whole thing in one sitting. With the chat helping out, and he did it. And so when I think he solved the right way the first as well, and then went and did the wrong paths, and that was the first time I'd actually seen what happened with the wrong paths. So the wrong path. So the instructions that you get that we read out through through Lantern Light and Sketches cast amount to: turn right at an orange lamp, turn left at a red lamp, go straight through a purple lamp, and start at the blue lamp. Hey, confusing concoction. Good morning. I cannot speak today. I apologize. So this is the real path, and there are like 3 different ways you can figure out the path. 4 different ways, excuse me. No, maybe only 3. Anyway, you can find it out from the instructions that we just followed. You can look at all the rooms we're going to go through have blue cornered Morjai boxes in them, and only those rooms have the blue ones. And so if you create a path with the blue Morjais, that gets you most of the way there. And if you read the words that are in the Morjai boxes, you get the message that is on the wall of the safe house. We seek what's in the shade of blue or truth or whatever it is. As I said, I'm all of a sudden very tired. My brain's not working tonight. We seek what's cast in the shade of truth or whatever it is that's on the wall. Those are the words that are in the Morjai boxes. So that's 2 ways you could figure it out. Number 3, or that was the third way technically, and the fourth way is the letters of the picture pairs in the 8 rooms we're going to go through spell out an anagram to Swan Song. Or actually, they may be even in the right order, I think. So we're going to start with the blue. So this is Sharpen Harp, S. Red lamp, turn left. Orange lamp, turn right. This is Wait and 8, W. Turn right. Turn right. Beads and Beds, A. So SWA. Turn left. Turn left. Lace and Lance, N. Go straight through. Post and Pot, S. Turn left, or straight through. And now turn right. Turn right again. Bar and Boar, A. So SWANSO. Pass through. Snail, Sail, N. Turn left. Now watch the doorway that's next to that first red lamp up there. Or that's not there is not a doorway now, but watch the space next to it, and you can see the door appear once we followed the correct path. I'm going to hug it over so you can see as much as possible. Once we clear right there, you can just see the doorway appear. And now we have the Blue Moon door leading in to there are no picture pairs here, but the ones that were in the furnace that should be here solve out to a G, obviously. So it spells Swan Song in order if you noticed that specifically. And so you may have noticed the Morjai blues, but not known what to do with it. Well, if you say, well, what's specific about those rooms that have a Morjai blue box in them? Well, SGWAN, blah, blah. Wait a second, that anagrams. What if we go in the rooms in the order of Swan Song? Well, I'll show you in a minute what happens if you do it the other way. But first, this is the real path. And so we get the last will and testament of me, the Baroness Auravei. I, Auravei of Mount Holly, architect, mother, and reluctant Baroness, being weak of body but of perfect mind and memory, thank be to Rinda, do make and ordain this document that be my last will and testament. As I commit my final wishes to paper, may it be done in the tapestry and colour of my life's work. May it be written under the tree of creativity and in the shade of truth that has sheltered my loved ones from the villainy of country and countrymen. In the same spirit of defiance, I hereby revoke all wills, codicils heretofore printed on common, hueless parchment. I, first being somewhat religious, give my soul to Rinna, my ashes to Vea, and my remainder to man, as will be detailed in the pages and clauses that follow this foolishly superstitious passage. In the second order, should my husband Baron Thomas Sinclair survive me, I grant to him his choice of sentimental keepsake he may wish to retain in remembrance of me. As our union was never founded on material dependency, I make no provision for his future, nor for my eldest son, Herbert S. Sinclair, as he will, in due course, inherit his father's titles, enterprises, and fortune. However, the estate of Mount Holly, its many floor plans and storied secrets, are mine, and mine alone to grant, and I have neither pledged nor suggested that it will be granted to either of my children. Further details concerning its disposition to follow. I do, in the third order, bestow upon my youngest son, Simon, my library, including its books, manuscripts, and musings. For I have long believed that Simon, much like myself, finds greater delight in the realm of imagination than in the mundane realities of everyday life. I hope he cherishes these books, for within their pages lie doorways to endless worlds of wonder and knowledge. In the fourth order, one that I suspect will intrigue those I leave behind far more than the previous provisions, I hereby bequeath the entirety of the aforementioned estate, Mount Holly, to the individual that discovers the hidden room that contains the blue pages of this document, hence styled the Blue Testament of Auravei. It is my firm belief that the challenge of uncovering this secret far outweighs any other measure of worthiness, and thus I entrust my beloved home to that deserving successor, without regard to the years that may pass with their familiar connection to my descendants, who may have incidentally assumed the possession of the estate in the interim. In the event that any of my relations or future kin are living on the estate when this worthy successor locates the Blue Testament, measures shall be taken to ensure their continued residence without fear of eviction or forced removal. The estate, being of generous size, is more than capable of accommodating multiple parties without inconvenience. It is with the understanding, however, that preparations for eventual relocation should be made, as such leniency will not be afforded to subsequent generations. I do hereby constitute and appoint my colleague and fellow practitioner of architecture, Quarterus Alicius Aaron of Trinsdale, the exclusive charge and office of executrix of this instrument. If ever the 46th room of my Mount Holly is discovered, and the Blue Testament of Auravei be delivered unto her hands, or unto any of her descendants, I do ordain that they shall bear sole dominion and discretion to override and render null any and all prior arrangements heretofore made, in my stead or in the name of my seed. I trust in her and in the generations that follow her to fulfill this role faithfully and to steadfast adherence to the wishes laid out in the foregoing pages of this document. Lastly, I leave a final message to my worthy successor, you who have reached this final room. You who have unearthed these pages hidden amidst the blueprints, buried beneath cryptic words and the prophecies of the past. You who have spent countless days wandering the chambers and passageways of your own curiosity, scouring for clues, hoping for answers, striving for that which might forever elude you. To you for whom satisfaction is a fleeting companion, to you who stands now at the end of your journey, triumphant, exhausted, and justly proud, to you I grant that which in life I have given to no other, my esteem. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 16th day of April, 1952, Auravei of Mount Holly. So there's a few things to unpack here, as you might imagine. Number one, it is, of course, perfectly in keeping with her character that she lists architect first. She is first and foremost the grand architect. That is her profession. That is what she is, what she does. That is her. She is an architect. And she's a mother. And a reluctant baroness, which makes you wonder if she had to marry Tomas to help secure the land. Was it a political marriage, an arranged marriage? Was it just for social niceties that she said, well, I need a husband because that's what's going on and that's what society says I need, and to make things work the way that I want, I can't, it's like there's any number of things that could go into that, or why she is a reluctant baroness. Because we don't know of any history that, for instance, like Tomas was not set to inherit the title but from his father, but maybe his brother died, and then suddenly Tomas got the title instead. Auravei loved him for who he was, not for his title, and then, I don't want to be a baroness. Well, I'm a baron. I'm going to be a baron now. All right, fine, I'll marry you anyway. That's not the sense I get from this. She doesn't really care. So she may have had a reason for doing it. She may have even loved Tomas. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of love expressed here, but she's telling you in those first few words of this her priorities in life. It's interesting in the second paragraph. I'll go through this in order, rather. The tapestry and color of her life's work. Obviously, this is being put in blue. Let's see, hold on. Concoction says, I thought she's the Baroness and he's the Baroness's husband. Didn't she buy the... She bought the house, but the title is inherited to the eldest son. And no, in a patriarchal society, if she's the only inheritor, the only child of her parents who would have been Baron or Baroness, then maybe. But we have Baron Edwin Sinclair, Baron Tomas Sinclair, Baron Herbert Sinclair. So the baronial line seems to follow the Sinclair men. She married into it. And again, I don't think that was really her priority in life by any stretch of the imagination, but the baronial title does follow the males. The only place we ever see titles seemingly follow women is in Araja specifically, that seems to have more of a matriarchal line. And so, but here she is, the tapestried color of her life's work, obviously blue. And she is very much against the red of the realm, the villainy of country and countrymen. So she is sheltering her loved ones in this place. This house and the grounds and everything she's done here is a way of sheltering her family. And she does say her loved ones, so it's not like she's a cold, heartless bitch. But she just seems to be very much about her priorities in life and what's important to her in order of what she wants. So read into that what you will, I guess. I think she's a terrible mother, because she one of her sons really does share her love of puzzles and everything, it really seems to be in the same spirit as her for drafting and puzzle making and all this other stuff, and that's Herbert. And she's like, well, he's going to get a title from his dad. I don't need to worry about him. I'm instead going to give the things that lead to the clues to lead you here are going to go to my other son, Simon. Okay, because she feels some sort of special kindred with him. That's fine. And then, as we'll see once we finally draft the library and tint the pages, the very first thing she does in the pages of those blank books is insult him. At least that's how I read it. We'll get there. So, in the same spirit of defiance, so this is defying the country, hereby revoke all wills and codicils heretofore printed on common and here this parchment. So presumably she had a different will on regular paper that had some of this already in it. Not the part that revokes everything else, of course, and anything referring to the Blue Testament. But she had to have a separate will in order to will some, a keepsake to Tomas, nothing to Herbert, and the library to Simon. Because if this is the only will, then they wouldn't have gotten those things. So she had to have another regular will, and then this is if someone finds this one, this overrides that other one that you may have seen. And so the second paragraph I find slightly confusing, because in the same paragraph she says, I am somewhat religious, and then this is a foolishly superstitious thing that I'm doing here. Like, it's superstitious, not faith or religion or belief in this, these other powers. So those two seem slightly at odds to me. I'm not sure if there's another way of reading it. But Rina and Vea are the two paragons that you see at the bottom of the classroom on opposite sides of the map in the history room. Not the history room, the geography room, in the giant map in the Etsphere. And they're reaching toward the middle where the moon is. And so they're on opposite sides. So here you have one that has the soul, one that has the ashes. So these are perhaps the two aspects of physical and spiritual that make up a person. And which is interesting because your ashes go to Vea. Rena is the paragon of gardening, which is the soil, and so that's where you would be buried, but your ashes go to Vea. So I guess she was cremated, but then where would those go? Those would go in the soil. It's kind of a weird arrangement that they have with that, in my opinion, at least. So here says, my husband Tomas Sinclair, he can have, if he's got some sentimental keepsake, he can have it. Not the most warm and loving way of expressing anything towards Tomas. Like, he can have his choice of things, a sentimental keepsake if he wants. It's not like, give him this thing that I know we both loved together and found, and whatever. It's like, if he's got something of mine that he likes, he can have it. But again, their union was not founded on material dependency, so she was obviously an independent woman. She held the title of Grand Architect, and we just saw that when we drafted the blue throne room for the first time. That, and I'm pulling up so I can read it off for sure. Hello, where is it? Come on. There it is. It is the sigil of Arunda Aries once affixed the crest of her ladyship, the Grand Architect Baroness Auravei. So she did have the title after, being married to Tomas, but she had the title of Grand Architect, which I swear it's used somewhere in one of the drafting strategies. So this is a title either that she reached through some sort of professional attainment and drafting bigger and better things, and just that is like her rank within the hierarchy of architects, or the Grand Architect in the Grand City of Fenn, the Grand, etc. So it could be a title of the court, that she is technically the Grand Architect of the Fenn Royal Court, perhaps, and just is secretly hiding her disdain for the color red. But it would give her an association to court and put her on a social level. If she doesn't have a title of her own, it would put her on a social level that would make her an acceptable marital match for Tomas as a baron, for instance, without causing any sort of a scandal of, well, he married a commoner or something weird like that, because we don't know anything about her family. We can surmise, and I didn't stop in the entrance hall of this place, which I should have, but the entrance hall here has major keys and count gates in it, whereas the entrance hall in the main house has Tomas and Edwin. Right? I don't know. We'll go take a look if we remember. I think that's who it is. Oh no, excuse me. It's Mary's grandparents, grandfathers rather. So it's Epson, William Epson, and Tomas Sinclair. This and so yeah. So it's her grandfather. Father. Yeah. Okay. So it's Tomas and William Epson. This has count gates and major keys, neither of which is necessarily or known to be in the Sinclair bloodline, and a count outweighs a baron technically. And so she also could have been descended from one or both of those lines. Who knows who the Keys family is beside this general? He's General Keys the Fourth, or Major, excuse me, not General. Damn it! Sorry, Teskin's title is bleeding in my brain. So Major Keys the Fourth. So military title, not necessarily a noble title, but Count Gates, if presumably those have some bloodline significance to Auravei as the person who made this place. So she could have a count as one of her ancestors, and so in that sense she also could be at a socially even level with Baron Sinclair, and a good match for him. So let's see. Yeah, so here she's saying she bought it. She bought the land. She made the house. This is her place. And originally in the deed, she is Auravei of Trinsdale. And here at the end, she is Auravei of Mount Holly. So this is interesting the way that's set up. And just she has changed how she refers to herself in making this place. So presumably the clause here about giving Simon the library in this books, this would have been in her original will, the non-blue version. So here it says, believe that Simon, much like myself, finds greater delight in the realm of the imagination, and etc. So it's like, okay, fine, but not necessarily has your skill or level in puzzle solving, which your other son actually did. So again, I should not win a Mother of the Year award from me anytime soon. But it says, I hope he cherishes these books. Within their pages lie doorways. So this, in the original will, could have been a hint towards Simon in what the eventual use of the library is getting here through the secret passage in the doorway. Maybe you could read it that way, knowing the end. But if you didn't know where this all led, that's just okay, yeah, books are a doorway to the imagination. Thanks, Mom. So we don't know how much Simon would have been able to read into that. And then, of course, this is whoever defines this, you will become the official owner of the house. But she's not a heartless bee, so you don't get to kick out her family, whoever's living here at the time. They can make arrangements, make it all work, and then eventually they do have to go because you own this place, not them. The existence and name and title of Quarterus Silesius, Aaron of Trinsdale, it has been the subject of several attempts at anagramming and who is this person, what does the title mean, why this, why that, etc. I cannot think of anything specific that came out of it. I believe someone has anagrammed something interesting out of it, but I don't remember what it was, or that it was all that definitive. But it was okay. Yeah, you can make those words out of those letters. I do know, and I really wish I could remember it, but the Blue Testament of Auravei does anagram to something interesting. I cannot for the life of me remember what it is, though. If I find it, I will put it up for YouTube at least. But yeah, I cannot remember what the heck it is. But yeah. So we have done that now. And to end our day, I would really like to go end in the break room, but I guess I'll show this off while I'm here. Shoot, I don't think I have enough steps. With 15 steps, I can't do it. Because I have to go in and out of 8 rooms. Hang on, let me look at my map and see and double check this before I write it off. So we'd be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, our 15th step would be where we need to go and we would end the day. I'll just describe it at least if I can't show it, because I'm literally 1 step shy of being able to do it. If you follow the path and you follow the lights, what I have seen people do is, and why they write off the correct path a lot of times, that I've seen that people come to the right conclusion that these are directions to follow, and there's like, okay, even if I start at blue like I'm supposed to, and I do this and I turn right and left, etc., what you come to is, I was supposed to turn left at a blank wall into the furnace when I get to that last red lamp. Damn, this was so promising. That won't work. I can't do it, because they're planning it out ahead of time, like you normally would, and they know that path won't work. Some people that I see solve it by the blue things and Swan Song, or we seek what's in the shade of truth. That's what it was. I'm just had to look at the actual words there. If they follow that, like, okay, those are the rooms. If that's how they get to the right path, they follow it and they go in the furnace from the path they're supposed to, or from the door that's actually on the furnace. And what happens is you walk in and you're trapped behind the fireplace of the furnace. You walk in and you're trapped behind the fireplace of room 46 or something like that, and you can clip through the furnace or the fireplace there, and you're in the furnace, but there's no door and you're actually trapped in the room. And so if you follow the path based on the words or Swan Song even, and go in the actual furnace, you get trapped there and you're stuck and you're soft locked and you have to end your day. You have to do it through that left turn into what should have been a blank wall until you see the door appear like we saw. And I'm in the corner again. So, but again, I'm literally one step short of being able to show that. So I will just have to go and end my day in the break room. All right, so now we will have finally our break room again for use. Oh, I need to put the watering can away. Shoot. Cannot give up this still water. There we go. Almost ran out of steps for that too. All right. Let's go to our checkboxes here. We have Red Lady Auravei's will. So there's a nice jump in percentage. We have done the Blessing of the Monk, obviously. That doesn't change our percentages. So I still need to find these last two spread things, so I will eventually need to change back to the Blessing of the Chef and see if I can get those two. We need to go buy our blue tents. We need to break open Hamwise. We need a couple more libraries. I'm going to try and buy out the showroom if I can. I want to try and do a trophy of drafting if I can. And we still need that friggin' vault key. So let's get to it. That's what's left. And one last Alzara, but he may not show up for a couple of days. I don't remember this time span that's coded in, but for a couple of days after, especially towards his later ones, apparently you cannot get him for a few days in between visions, which I think is crap, but okay. Okay, I need yellow because I'm still trying for that upgrade disc. And we need to find that key. Okay. So let's go yellow for now. It's supposed to be, as long as you don't interact with the trading post more, a second time, then you can still trade the high-end stuff in here. So we're going to try that today because what I was doing before was not getting me anywhere. Honestly, the rabbit's foot. Okay. All right. So we've only accessed the counter once. In theory, we should now be able to go find the showroom and buy some expensive stuff and see if we can trade for. As long as we don't go back out there again. So we're going to need some money. That's fine. Gets it out of the draft pool. But it was fine. Got a couple of keys from our clock tower yesterday. As it was. Or no, that was from the box, sorry. Clock tower was the other day. Screw it. Wish I'd had that before. We can do that. Closed exhibit is one of the places where the vault key we need can show up. Maybe, eventually, possibly. Damn you. Shovel. I'll leave that in for now in case of experiments. Might as well. I'll take it with us in case we find the library. Sure. Oh. Don't overdo it. Crap. That was a bad idea, actually. Yeah, den's fine. Looking for the showroom game. There it is. Thank you very much. Alright, what do we got today? I need the compass is the only thing I can buy that does it. Bracelet, master key, and the ornate compass. So that's what we're buying. And we might as well head outside before we get too much further into the house here. And we can change this now. I got what I needed. The other best place to find it is in Lost and Found. Double check. Key 370. Doesn't apply, doesn't apply. Close exhibit. I've never seen it, but theoretically it can be there. Lost and Found. It can be in the throne room, so we'll keep looking. We'll keep drafting in the throne room. And trading post trade can show up. So we're also going to be on the lookout for Lost and Found. All right, fingers crossed. Nope. Library. Okay. For our books, we need... I think the last two drafting strategies is it. Drafting strategy number 4. And, most importantly, the whole reason we're here on this day of all days. Tinting the blank pages. Alright. So like I said, like the very first thing, if her son Simon was to have solved the cipher that she left him, which is not mentioned in the will we saw, may have been in the original will, of course. This is what she would have seen. This is what he would have seen. My darling, my dearest darling son, I am quite impressed. I didn't expect you to make it this far. On past like the 1 or 2 clues in. First thing she says is, "Hey, I'm surprised. I didn't think you'd get this far. I didn't think you were this smart, my son." Seriously. Yet if these words have reached your eyes, rest assured the end of the spiral is near. Stay vigilant and rose-wary, for the thorns we discover are twice as sharp at the conclusion of each of our journeys. One final counsel I leave you. The waters of the West Spring shall yet reveal more secrets than these mere passages. I had so many plans, but not enough dreams. Your mother, Auravei. So, obviously here you have the tended rose vine, which is anagrams with does it never end, etc. This is definitely clearer than it used to be. The letters, the words West Spring, Secret, and Passage are noticeably bolder than I remember them being. Do I have my copies of those pages handy? Yes. and I'll put them on I'll put it on the screen for YouTube at least. I can't show them here, but they definitely cleaned this up and made these words stand out extra specially strong, presumably because not enough people knew what to do, or they were struggling with it, and when they finally figured out what the answer was, they're like, that's stupid, I hated that was dumb, why did they make me do that? But the fact that, even secret passage, the little s's there are not as dark, so you read the word secret passage right there on top of itself, very deliberately placed, of course. The one thing that still tends to trip people up is West Spring, of what is the West Spring, and they see the water that is between the house and the rocks that are outside, and the water, that is the spring. The water is technically supposed to be going from there to the house, underneath to the reservoir, and then go from the reservoir out the waterfall separately. So that is supposed to be the West Spring itself, not the water coming from the house down to the rocks past the outer room, as far as I can tell, at least. So yeah, they definitely made this a little bit easier and more deliberate for people to see. Uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot. Back in my day, we didn't have that, And then a hidden hue from prism pristine, 3 paths convene, 3 lines of light, 3 shades foreseen. 3 colors to count, a sum of 18, but the one left hidden remains to be seen. The other thing that tripped people was there's this little blotch here leads people to think that, oh, well, I think that's where the river is outside. It's actually a little bit high. That's too high. The river is further south than that. The water from the spring. And so they're like, well, maybe we have to draft the secret passage here on the outer wall where the spring is, which is a valid interpretation if you think that's where the spring is, not where the rocks are by the outer room. But specifically, the waters of this West Spring reveal more than these mere passages, because the water from the spring is what revealed these passages. So that's the still water. So where'd you get the still water from? That's the water from the spring. So that's how you're supposed to draw that. That's the same water that you used here. You're going to use it again in the secret passage, and so people will bring the watering can of still water to the secret passage, and they'll do it in the house sometimes, and there's nothing there, obviously, and a lot of times then they'll almost immediately go, boom, okay, let's put this outside instead. Not everyone. Some people struggle over it. Some people get help from their chat. Some people just struggle with it for a few days until they get it. I've seen the whole gambit of people getting through that part. And everybody gets it. Hopefully everybody gets there in the end. It's all about the way you play. No shade one way or the other. But the Prism Pristine, obviously, like I said, when we were in the rough draft, that is from the very beginning, the prism is there, those first 6 lamps, 1 in each color. From the Prism Pristine, where you haven't crossed any other lamps, that's where you have to start your path and then start following. 3 lines of light, so pick a color, follow that color and only that color. 3 paths convene in the the orange room. Why is my brain failing tonight? I'm not that old. Vestibule. Good God. And the Morozai puzzle in there, in fact, is those 3 colors, and then the black one, if I remember correctly. And so that's a 4-color Morozai box, which is just mean, in my opinion. The 3 colors to count the sum of 18. This one, very few people I've seen catch on to this one. If you count the number of rooms that you go through in each path, the number of rooms, number 1, each one gives you a letter that you can apply to the gallery in there. And I probably should have stopped in the gallery and talked about it. It didn't even occur to me. There's a couple of rooms there that really should be talked about. If I have a chance, I'll go back. But the gallery there has the 4 words on the walls that don't match ours. There's no pictures, of course, but one of the paths comes with 5 letters. You cross through 5 rooms. One of them you cross through 6 rooms, and one of them you cross through 7 rooms, And then the Swan Song, the real path, you cross through 8 rooms. So there's the 5-letter picture, 6-letter picture, 7 and 8. 5 and 6 and 7 is 18. So you cross through 18 rooms to get there. Oh, hello! There's a whole bunch of storks in my chat now. Welcome in, everybody. Who was just chatting tonight, Laura. Welcome in. For anybody who is watching this, who's hanging around now or is watching this later on the VOD, definitely go check out Laura the Stork. She's going to be taking a bit of a break from streaming, but once she's back full force, you should definitely go check her out. Met Laura during Blueprints days, no coincidence, and watched her from somewhere in the middle all the way up through solving the rough draft that we just went through tonight. And as she beat it, I think she still has, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, you still have like dare mode and curse mode and stuff to get through. But yeah. Oh, anybody who's here, sorry, big spoilers, get out of here. I should have thought of that. Thank you, Random Red, for pointing it out. This is super late game, super spoilers. We're talking about everything. We just went through one of the biggest spoilers in the game, and I'm staring at one on the screen right now, in fact. So yeah, avoid spoilers, please. Wings, thank you so much for the follow. Splungenus as well, and Josh Vega. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the follow. Appreciate having you in. I've been in Laura's chat quite a bit, but for anybody who is not familiar with me, I'm Bronx, and huge Blueprints fan. I'm a variety streamer, but a lot of my content is Blueprints. And I normally play Blueprints Bingo on Monday nights, but for the past couple of months, we've been doing a 100% walkthrough of everything in the game and talking about the lore of every room and reading every book and article and description and page and you name it. We've been going through everything. As you can see on the screen, we are about 3/4 of the way through. My completion percentages, there's still a few things that are elusive that we got to get to, but yeah, we're working on it. So we still got a couple of things. Oh, lost and found. Okay, this is one of the places that's repellent and the wrench. Not what I need. All right, well, that was the last thing I really needed to check for today. Do I have... I don't have my break room. All right, well, I still got a chapel down there. Let's go try and get a break room down there.
We're gonna keep trying for the showroom and the trading post. I have no idea how much money is in ham-wise, but having bought something expensive in the showroom today feels like a bad day to hope that there's enough in there. If I had more money, I would freeze myself right now. I am looking for... I do need more of those, but not really care about it at the moment. In a break room, please. I'm not blind, right? I don't have it somewhere already. Money, not as helpful as you might think, game. There's a die in here, at least. And a chest. Prison key doesn't do me much good. Yeah, I know how to get it. Sometimes and like on my main file, I've traded multiple times for it there to keep going past the original 16. But sometimes it just decides it doesn't want to give it to me. So
keep trying. I need a vault key, and I need that upgrade disc, are the two things that I'm really pushing for to get, and then everything else after that is I can do at my leisure. But those two things I have to keep pushing for. So we're gonna do you yellow again. I do like my lockpick. I don't know what my lockpick skill is, but it's pretty darn high now. Average day of the drafted for foundation is 12.9. That's about when I got my foundation, somewhere right in there. I don't have a day number for every entry, but for the ones I do, that number, the average is 12.9. Okay, well. Mine was day 2. Well, there's another data point for you. Trading post. Not going to go in. Not going to do it. We're going to keep trying that way. So I want that break room. Showroom. All right. Give me something good here. Bracelet and master key. Excellent. All right. Well, definitely gonna go for the bracelet. And now, if I can get enough money for the master key as well, that'd be great. Library again. Okay, we get to read. All right, we are on drafting strategy number 4. Tools of the trade. Taking issue with inventory. In the world of drafting, the tools of an architect wields are crucial in shaping their vision and bringing their designs to life. The precision, elegance, and functionality of these instruments can have a profound effect on the drafting process and the final outcome of your project. That's why it's very important to choose the right tools to complement your drafting techniques. In this issue of Drafting Strategy, we will dive into the vast realm of inventory, bringing to light the many hidden tools of the trade that you can enhance your favorite strategies and elevate your architectural ambitions to unprecedented heights. From classic compasses and T-squares to state-of-the-art software upgrades, the variety of drafting tools available to architects today is staggering. As we navigate this diverse landscape, regardless of whether you are a seasoned professional seeking to refine your toolkit or a budding draftsman searching for a basic set of instruments, the following articles will provide invaluable insights and guidance for architects of all levels. Guiding Compass, an introduction to drafting items. Gems. You can't have a conversation about drafting items without starting with gems. These valuable stones allow architects to draft special floor plans. The stopwatch. A more short-term, very short-term, alternative to paying gem costs is utilizing a stopwatch to bypass any gem costs you encounter during a frantic 1-minute drafting dash. Also applies to keys, as long as you have at least one. Emerald Bracelet. Of course, if you are wealthy enough to be able to afford to purchase it from the showroom, this very high-end luxury item removes the gem cost of special floor plans altogether. Repellent Spray. But why remove gem costs when you can just remove the whole room? Repellent Spray can free you of that annoying floor plan, lost and found, for up to a week. Ivory Dice. Dice are a resource that allows you to re-roll your new floor plans while drafting. Brass Compass, a useful drafting tool that adjusts to the orientation of floor plans. If a room has another exit, it will have a high chance to lead north. I have seen people badmouth the compass. I don't get it, and I think they're wrong and just misunderstand the thing. I love the compass. It's fantastic. Silver Key. The orientation of floor plans matters a lot less when rooms have tons of doors. Silver Key all but guarantees that your draft will result in rooms with enough doors to ensure they lead where you want them to go. The Gear Wrench. The first item that can adjust the rarity of floor plans in the draft pool. Although it only works on mechanical rooms, it's a useful tool for customizing your experience. The Ornate Compass, another luxury item from the showroom and likely the most useful drafting tool on this list. Ornate Compass allows you to rotate floor plans as you draft them, allowing you to position doors to your advantage. Glue, Grease, and Guts, Workshop Contraptions. Crafted from the depths of resourcefulness and innovation, contraptions are makeshift creations born from the fusion of two or more distinct tools. Those through soldering, taping, and a liberal amount of hot glue, inventors can use the workbench found in the workshop to bring together disparate elements to forge something far greater than the sum of its parts. Blind experimentation is often the most rewarding avenue for true innovators, but for those crafters who need a bit of inspiration or guidance, we have included a list of common contraption components to kickstart your creative journey. Contraption components are a battery pack, shovel, metal detector, broken lever, compass, sledgehammer, lockpick kit, coin purse, magnifying glass, and the mystery item. It's about time for an upgrade! Architectural Digest Guide to Upgrade Discs. Perhaps the most exciting item an architect can come across is an upgrade disc. This floppy data disc houses a wellspring of unique architectural plans designed explicitly for a specific room. By inserting the disc into a computer terminal, architects gain the ability to shape the destiny of a room, guided by the enticing designs contained on the disc. This myriad of options not only allows architects to craft floor plans that align with their preferred strategies, but also enables them to adapt their creations to evolving project requirements. Furthermore, the upgrade disk's array of plans ensures that no two architects will follow the same path, fostering a landscape of diverse architectural designs. And we've already talked about all of those options and many more. Tooltips! Tricks for itemized success. Interesting that the word item is actually bolded and all the letters around it aren't. I'm sure someone has theories about that. The hall pass. Stringing together adjoining hallways has always been the most straightforward strategy when using a hall pass. Drafting floor plans like tunnel and secret passage are an easy way to set up longer chains of hallways. Also, as we've discussed, that is a way to all but guarantee getting the bookshop out of the library, is having a hall pass on you. You can adjust the settings in the terminal located in security to make security doors more or less common. If you haven't found a keycard, it is worth changing those settings to high, and if you haven't, you may want to set them to low. For the endeavoring gardener, a watering can is a fundamental tool. But did you know you can refill this item with water? All you need to do is find a faucet with running water. Most green rooms can only be drafted along the edge of your house, and the secret garden is no exception. You can use this key on any locked door leading to one of these room positions. If you have come across any fancy ruby socketed candlesticks, you may want to take note in case you can find an item that can produce a flame. These specific candlesticks contain mechanical triggers that are tripped when the candle is lit. So it's not magic, it's a mechanical thing. Word from the editor. Tools are cool, so are bow ties, but they're only as good as the architect who harnesses their capabilities. As you finish reading this issue of Drafting Strategy, I want you to open up your menu and look at your inventory. Take a moment to look at each item and contemplate the true potential they all hold. The same potential you see there is the same potential that resides within yourself. For it is not the tools themselves that will sculpt the grand structures and monuments of tomorrow, but the deft hands and brilliant minds of architects like you. Not a whole lot to add to this, really. It's a good summary and gives you some good information about items, and if you have not found out some of the things in here, like lighting the torches, you may have even gotten to this book before you figured out the secret garden. I've seen that happen. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good info in here. But now we've read that one. And we're still looking for more money. Oh? Oh? Yes. Paid off. Okay. Now I need the vault. My vault should be... How common is my vault? Standard, good. Alright, maybe we can do this. Alright, yes, Bumper, good luck. Give me good luck. We're gonna get this done. And we got quite a few dice. And doors left down south if I need them. Okay, good. Might as well. Where else am I going to use it? Lucky green room's my butt. Ain't nothing here. There's a vault. Yes! All right, we're getting this done. Thankfully, that strategy paid off. Okay, and... Oh, hey, cool. With that, and the stack of cash that's in here, we can go for the master key as well. Okay, and this is the last thing we have to leave, obviously, so here we are. I don't like the vestibule because of the locking, and it's not too bad, but it's not worth 2 gems to me. I've got enough other ways of getting around confusing concoction. Let's see, 34 out of 81, blank size. I don't even want to know what math you're doing there. All right, Uncle, thank you again for all of your help. I know I could never hope to repay you, but it pains me to know that I won't even have the chance to try. At any rate, I'm leaving these extra funds behind, as well as all the extra passports. It would be too risky if we were searched at the border, and the money would raise too many suspicions. I think we all want a clean start anyway. I know I do. Mary. So this would have been left at the time she was leaving. Finally. Whoops, nope, come back, don't do that. Timeline-wise, this should be in around November. The November 8th is her red letter to Herbert that she's about to leave the country, so this would have been at around the same time, and leaving the passports as too much, and obviously the crown would have been left behind as well, which is why it's still here. Because if passports and extra money would raise suspicions, carrying around the crown of Arindia would as well. And so it's not dated, so we don't have an exact date, but we know that Mary left around November 8th, 1987. I still maintain that she was caught. She was recognized during the heist itself, or at the very least, that Caleb was in his association with her, because it brought the Red Guard back here. Because literally the day of the heist, they would have had to come back here, and or the very next day at the latest, if Bon Margul is tweaking the rules of the library, because he was back here on the side of the manor right after the heist, so he suspected her right off the bat, and came right back here to do some more research and figure out what's going on. And so her involvement was suspected and or known, and I maintain that she was caught, possibly, and probably killed, but it was all kept quiet to avoid the embarrassment of the realm of having one of the daughters of its nobles involved in a political heist for the crown, and involved with this terrorist insurgent group, the RLCF. And so, and with Alzara's vision that we saw tonight, saying that you're searching for a shadow that will never be cast, and following in the history of the heist footsteps, you're not going to find your mom because she's not there anymore, is how I read it. And I'm of the opinion that Mary is gone, and that she was caught and killed, and that the other members were as well. And again, I detailed this in my my full history of blueprints video that I did. And this is just one of those things, where she's leaving all of this stuff behind and going for this new start, but a clean slate. I've seen some people who interpret that as she is willingly and just the reason we don't see her anymore is because she's going for the clean slate. She's leaving Simon and all of her family behind, and that's why we don't see her, is because she has got a new identity in some other country, and we'll never see her again because she doesn't want to be found. She doesn't want to see her son again. I call BS on that. But I can see where people got to that conclusion. I am just nowhere near that camp. So. Alright, so we need foundation. We need outside. I could technically, theoretically, possibly try and trade the Sanctum key for the upgrade disc as well, because that trades at the same tier. And then come back tomorrow, now that the vault is open, I can just come back to the vault and try it again. So I am going to go to the outside to the trading post first, just in case. It's not ideal, but in theory, it will work. And unfortunately, I turned this off so the keycard doesn't actually do me any good right now. Where the hell am I going? Up and out. Over. Alright, so we have accomplished many things today, in fact. Glad the lost and found gambit paid off. Because, like I said, I don't have the Cloister of Mila, which is a definite way of going for that there you can drafting bedrooms out of the Cloister of Mila is one of the best ways to get vault keys, and there's at least 2 bedrooms you can draft out of Mila that can give you that particular vault key. So it wasn't an option, so I didn't have to agonize over what do I pick it or not, but still. I've never had the Cloister of Mila, and I don't ever plan on getting it, although it does have some nice, like, serious amount of items you get if you draft bedrooms out of it. No. No. You know, screw it. I'll get the Sanctum key tomorrow. I don't believe I have ever traded a Sanctum key in my life. Do I have a computer out here? No, let's go to the grotto. All right, so tomorrow we need the vault again. We do this stupid stuff sometimes. All right, here we go. Finally, at long last, the aquarium. When it can do absolutely no good whatsoever. But let's talk about it. It should be on the last page here. Aquarium. So the descriptions on this one do change based on what you have, and sadly, the big old fish who's in the archives is, I believe, is no longer there for any of them. There's one particular streamer that I follow who has dubbed him Business Fish, and he was a little distraught when he finally got the upgrade disc for Aquarium and realized that he had to lose Business Fish, because I believe he chose the powered aquarium for the eels, which definitely gets rid of the Business Fish. So if you choose Goldfish, the main description is the same for the aquarium up through where it says the fish found throughout the estate, or whatever the description is. I don't have it in front of me. Let me pull that up again. Room directory, aquarium. And now I have Age of Aquarius in my head. In addition to having a bouquet of colorful fish, each tank in the aquarium is also inspired by the decor and colors of various types of rooms found throughout the estate. Now, based from there, the descriptions change. For the goldfish, it then adds, however, the prevalence of goldfish seems to hint at a slight preference for shops among the manor's many floor plans. 10 gold for every aquarium you draft. When you start adding 3 aquariums to your draft pool from experiments over and over and over again, that adds up pretty fast. Starfish Aquarium, the description changes to the new addition of starfish complement this theme, giving the many aquatic creatures in this room a comparable equivalent of the night sky. And so that tank where the archives is plastered with starfish, and you get a star for every aquarium that you draft. And the most common upgrade that I see people choose, myself included, because if you get this early, it's friggin' awesome, because you don't have to worry about the boiler room, because this is a power source, and it's also a mechanical room, so it makes getting the Mechanarium Sanctum key a hell of a lot easier, especially if you add a bunch of aquariums to your draft pool. The eel upgrade is hands down the clear winner in almost everybody I've ever seen play this game. I've seen others in very special occasions, if they're doing like bingo runs or something else. I've seen people go with starfish so they can spam stars to get a bingo tile, or the goldfish for the extra gold, just because it's such a short time span of the game. You're only early game, so 10 extra gold can make a huge difference in the early game. But the electric eel description changes adds, the new edition of electric eels is an electrifying upgrade, making this room feel much more powerful. Literally. And yeah, so electric eel is generally the clear front runner for this upgrade for a normal run or anything you're doing. None of these really does me a whole hell of a lot of good anymore. This is literally the last upgrade disc of the original 16 that I could possibly get. So everything's powered that needs to be powered. I don't need stars for anything particular. I guess if I do this, that'll get me up to the inkwell that much faster. So I may do this one. The gold really doesn't do a heck of a lot of good for me. So I think I'm going to do the starfish. I've used that in Blueprints Bingo to rack up the star count faster, so I can get 15 stars for a bingo tile in fast order. First upgrade you did was spare room. Last one you did was spare room. Nice. I love an early spare room because then I can get a spare green room, and the spare green room is fantastic, even without anything else attached to it. Let's see if we can now get a coat check. That would actually be pretty nice, because then I can store one of these items that I bought. Mail room. Start us off right tomorrow. Coat check, thank you. Done. All right, let's see. Check item. I think I'm going to go ahead and check the emerald bracelet. And we need to go find... Wait, I still don't have a break room? Seriously? Again? We got one door left to draft out of. Let's go turn the power on. And go hunt down our cloister. Eventually. All right. And break room. There we go. Solve another puzzle. All right. 21 flip is 12. That's our first flippity bippity sign. 14, 41, 21, 20. 20, 30, 21 flip 12. Okay. And we call it a day. All right, now we just need the vault. And we're good. And that will be a great place to stop at that point. Okay. And so next time will just be one last book, getting blue tents, a little extra food, one last Alzara, and breaking open the piggy bank to buy blue tents. Alright, so now I don't especially care what I get outside. But what if would anything? I guess the trading post is nice to have for trading away microchips and such early on. Or monk to get a not monk, but a shrine to get blessing of the chef. And if we don't get it, we don't get it. But we got a 3 out of 4 chance, so. Well, no, because we have break room's going to show up. But it showed up anyway, thanks. Alright, race helpers. What do I need for blessing of the chef for 4 days? 27. Alright. So I got 4 days to run experiments and try and spread dirt from the experiment. That's the hardest one to arrange for, honestly. But the other one I need to try and spread is, I think, gems? I think I never got the patio. Right? Yeah. So we need a patio, and we need an experiment. And a vault. And a coat check. We need the things. Library. Let's request our last book for next time. Let's go ahead and up this while we can. Yeah, so I've mentioned it, and I don't remember if I mentioned it explicitly before, but I know it's sort of come up. As I was kind of hinting at earlier, no, not security, again, log in. You can get infinite upgrade discs out of the trading post by trading high-end items out of the showroom like I kept trying to do. And so if you don't like your upgrade, you can keep going back and back and back and back until you finally get the disc that corresponds to the room that you want to trade. If you want to trade your spare room, you have to get 2 separate upgrade discs, I think, because I think it resets it back to choosing the original color, and then you have to get it again to pick the version you want of that. Remote terminal access. Up the laboratory. We need to try and spread some dirt. And by the way, I completely forgot to mention it before, but for all of this month, we are running a charity benefiting the Trevor Project, a charity that supports LGBTQ plus youth. And so trying to raise money for that for the rest of this month during Pride Month. For every $5 donated, I have a stash of Birdie Bot's Every Flavored Beans. So putting my taste buds on the line. So I will eat 1 bean for every $5. As well, there's also, if you donate up to a certain threshold that you can see on the About Me section of my Twitch page, as a thank you gift specifically from me to you for that, there's a list of tiers of potential gift items that I will mail you to your address, which you have to send me your address, but whisper to me and I'll destroy it as soon as I send it, I promise. But the idea is a mug or a keychain or luggage tag. There's a list of stuff that's there to have the Hogwarts house logo of your choice printed on it with your Twitch name or something to that effect. The rest of the month that I'm streaming, when I'm not doing blueprints, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, specifically for that reason, to use JKR's IP to raise money for a cause that she does not, for something she doesn't like. So I find that I enjoy the irony of that and giving a stick in the eye to her on that. So yeah. Let's see. Spread dirt, spread dirt, spread dirt. Yes! Okay, what do we got? Bypass security door, spread dirt. All right, this is going to be a good one. We should definitely have some security doors. And then I'm going to need to find the patio as well, and then the dining room at some point here. Conference room is nice, because then all the dirt goes here instead, I guess. Patio, I need to be drafting into it from the outside edge, and I'm going to need to be green at that point, so I'm going to stay off the edges until I find the vault. Spread some dirt. There's my dining room. And there's our first meal of the day. See if I can get the patio first, and I'll come back and do them all both at the same time. Okay, up the foundation. Patio, there we go. Okay, what else do we need? For tomorrow's sake, I would like to still find a break room. We are good on geese. So, banner's green, scepter's blue. Alright, let's keep looking for a break room. Alright, next time I'm gonna be I'm gonna try for a serious run at blue tents, so let's just freeze. Get an extra 80 gold to work with. Oh, hey, this one at least. Oh, that is the lever. I got turned around. Wine cellar it is, and then pantry is our last place to look for it. Lever didn't really do me a hell of a lot of good. I'm gonna live without it if I need to, but spent many days without it as is. All right. Oh, no, damn. All right. No break room for us. Okay, so we need to go down below. We need to open up our last sanctum, and we need to go to the dining room really fast. Got some decent dirt spread in here. Cause some chaos. Okay. So, the special course, the Sloppy Jim. Jim's rejoiced this absolute mess of a sandwich was dripping with melted cheese and our house-made Sloppy Jim barbecue mixture, served with pickle slices and a gem for extra crunch. Get +5 steps and +1 gem, plus an additional gem if you got a gymnasium in your house. That does look pretty tasty, minus the tomatoes on it. And special course, the Mudslide ice cream. Get your hands dirty with a bowl of Carrarica chocolate swirl ice cream infused with rich coffee syrup and dripping with a ribbon of melted mocha chunks. +5 steps and 1 dirt pile, plus an additional dirt pile if you have a freezer in your house. Where's it going to put the extra dirt pile? There it is. Never had a freezer when I ate. I think I've only eaten that once, so. Okay, now we're done there. We don't really have anything else to do except go down to the Sanctum. Our final Sanctum, thanks to the way I decided to do these keys, will of course be the Fenn Aries Sanctum. Trying to navigate here without looking at what I'm doing. Hold on. Alright, Fenn Aries. Great as we go. Fenn Aries has a pentagon shape in the middle and has the 4 X-shaped rays indicating their transportation is roads. They have foggy weather, much like Agrenda Aries, obviously, since it's the same bloody place. They are a martial society owing to the military takeover of the government, and the color is, of course, red. And this, of course, is the infamous, this will be the infamous one that I've talked about multiple times, of how the motes pointing inward is the real way, and the version of this seal that you see on Mary's birth certificate and her passports has alternating motes pointing in and out, indicating that I believe that that version is a forgery and that Mary was not in fact born to Clara and Simon Sinclair, and was in fact potentially the daughter of Caitlin Giari, adopted by her childhood friend Mary. Squiggles, not the hashes. Alright, now let's see. Let's see the settings, accessibility, color assist. How do I turn that on? The labels. Color patterns, that's what I want to see for this. Because if you look at the color patterns on these, the patterns of these buttons match the patterns for the rings of the Sanctum puzzle we just did. So if you look at the color red there and how it's like that, that's the little swoops that go around the outside of the red. For the green, for Nuance has the thick diagonal hashes on it. Mortajai has the circles, etc. So I mean, the colors are inspired or just flat out taken from the colors that are on that Sanctum puzzle out there, except the blue one, which of course doesn't have a Rome Sanctum puzzle to solve like that, but the blue color that's on these, if you haven't seen it, is the thorned vine that you see in the for instance in the Atelier in the rough draft, that's on like the letters and everything. So just that is that thorny vine look. And I don't have an example. I'll put one up on the screen for YouTube later. But yes, the colors here that they show are the same ones that you see on that Sanctum, which I thought was a really cool way of doing it. But I don't like seeing the patterns on there. Alright, here. Oh, let's do the thing first. The Mortajai box, the Fenn Aries variation. At the end of the war with the Fifth Era, after the Grand Realm of Fenn Aries was established, Mortajai boxes of the realm were graced with red tiles in honor of General Teskin's victory. When these tiles are pressed, all black tiles on the box turn red in triumphant victory, while all white tiles on the box turn black, serving as the outclassed and struggling reinforcements of the dwindling Desolé army. Yeah, well, it's the same with all the colors everywhere. The color itself matches. It's not just the more dry boxes, but the pattern that's used for the color always matches. Let's see. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've solved that one so many times, but it's still kind of a pain in the butt, so I don't mind using my race helper as always when I just need to get it done. Alright. So this, of course, is the capital city, but this would be... I believe this is actually... this is the museum. I want to say this was actually Learson's home that was converted. Let me double check that. Because if you look on the map, at least, this appears... Well, it's not exactly the same. So I guess it's not. So this probably is just the capital, the building, the palace where Teskin set himself up. Because the front of that doesn't quite match what we see on the museum thing. I had thought for the longest time that it was that, but I guess it isn't. It's the same building you see there. So that probably is the palace for the royal government of Fenn, Aries. And makes me wonder, since he's got a statue of himself in the museum grounds, makes me kind of wonder if that statue in the front is another statue of Teskin with the angel wings on him and everything. You can't see any more detail other than just that blurry thing there, obviously, but it makes me kind of wonder. And we have the cannons, and of course the same building that shows up there. Yeah, Random Red, I know that. I've seen so many people struggle with that one. Alright, the final postcard, and this is the final postcard that he sends, in fact. I'm actually writing this last postcard sitting at my desk at home. I suppose I should put forth the extra effort and drop it in the mail for consistency. But I'm tempted to save the postmaster a trip, as it will just wind up here once again to join the other 7, which I am pleased to report were all waiting for me on my desk, safe as can be. Flipping through them has reminded me of the many friends I made and the lessons learned along the way, and as I look back, one truth shines brighter than the others. Air travel is much better than sea travel. Herbert. P.S. Remind Anne to replace the books that I lost. And so the postmark here for Fenn Aries is actually different than the postmark that you see on all the mail that was also front in Fenn Aries. I'm curious why that would be, though. Maybe it's because that was all sent through the Reddington mail, but this looks like it says Fenn and it has Oris at the bottom, so maybe for some reason he had this sent from Oris just so it would have a different postmark on it. I don't know. Not really clear about why that would be different, but that is our final Morajai box. We were only required to unlock and open the ones that had Saint allowance coins in them, so that is done. So next time, with the additional money we have frozen now, and ham-wise should be pretty well set up. We have the Trophy of Sigils for unlocking all 8 realm sigils, so that is now complete. Almost to 80%. Yeah, so next time we'll be racking up a lot of points finishing this off. Might be able to finish get up to 100% next time. If not, then almost certainly the week after that. Anyway, yeah, so what I was saying, so next time, with the money that we have stashed away from this, that 80 plus the 60 to start with, that's going to be 147 gold just to start with. Ham-wise should be primed with a bunch of money, if I can grab like a coin purse as well, just to seal the deal. Shouldn't have any problems affording blue tents next time. And that'll be the last permanent upgrade that we need. And then it's just a matter of if I bother to go for the showroom trophy as specifically after that. If I get another good money day while I'm working at it. And once we have that, we'll keep pushing at some of these other ones to finish them off. Next time we'll probably be doing, once I get through the important stuff, I may take a day and try and make a run at the Dead End Drafting Challenge, especially if I can get myself up to 50 stars quickly at that point. And I may honestly run a few days in between now and then, just farm stars, just to make that go faster and get up to 50 so I can do it on screen without worrying about it. Oh wait, no, I can't do that because of the money. Never mind, can't do that. Maybe if I don't do it next time, then I'll do it between next time and the following week. So one or two more sessions at most, and we should be through this this series, and we will be all the way complete. No, the books he lost aren't the ones, as far as we know, are not the ones we had to buy in the bookstore. Chances are they're the ones that are mentioned in the office note, the March of the Count, etc., because it's talking about buying a new copy of those that for the Baron. So those are probably the ones that he left behind and needs to rebuy. So anyway, that will pretty much call it a night for us. It's nowhere else I can end the day that would really make a difference here. So a garden menagerie, day 40. I wonder if we... Oh, no, not... Nope. All right, well, I'm going to force quit this afterwards so I don't lose my money, the frozen money. So anyway, so that's going to wrap us up. So let's see. It's... I always finish this up too late for me to raid out anywhere. Let's see if anybody's still going, though. I don't see anybody I know playing Blueprints. Anyway, yeah, so thank you everybody who stopped in today, and whether you were lurking, whether you chatted, whether you stopped by for 5 seconds, whether you hung around for a while. Either way, if you're watching us on the VOD, if you were here live, if you're on YouTube, I don't care. I just appreciate you being here and spending time and your attention, and hopefully I was entertaining enough to justify that. So come back next week. We will be driving towards finishing off this list. Maybe we'll finish it off next week. I suspect we'll have some lingering things, Alzara, that will take me a little while because the game's going to be stubborn. But we'll see what happens. So thank you again, everybody. And as I said, Wednesdays and Friday nights will be Hogwarts Legacy. See if I can finish that game off by the end of the month. And again, raising money for the Trevor Project as well. And hope to see some people back in future streams, either here or in one of those other nights. And thanks for everybody for being here. Good day, good night, good time zone.